Hey, today we're looking at the S21 Ultra and my thoughts on the first 2 weeks of using it. So last year, the gap in the differences between the S20, 20 Plus, and Ultra were not that large. The really big difference was the cameras, but the cameras on the Ultra were quite problematic because of stabilization issues. So I went with S20 last year. It was a great size, form factor of a phone, still had all of the top specs for a flagship phone, which is a smaller, nicer form factor. This year, it's a little bit different story. So the Ultra name this year really provides much more of a focused direction for the Ultra line, an option that truly supplies the everything Ultra name. You have the best screen, you have the best cameras, the biggest screen, the biggest battery, and you even have S Pen features. The Ultra supplies significant differences over the S21 and 21 Plus, unlike the past iterations did. There are several things that this phone symbolizes a shift for Samsung in general. With the S Pen being included now, it's a question that comes if the Note line will continue to be around, or will the Z Fold line become the Note with the large, superior bleeding edge features and hopefully an embedded S Pen, where the S21 Ultra will do the rest of the average normal day Note features, but you'll have the Z Fold do the top of the line specs. Remember where the Note started. The Note started as a crazy design that was being called a phablet. Nobody thought it was a phone that would take off, and now we've got phones even larger than the first Note was. So the Z Fold really looks like it's going to be the replacement for the Note. So the specs are certainly a step up from the S21 and S21 Plus, but the S21 and 21 Plus are still good phones, a jump up from the S20 still in comparison. But what do most of the specs amount to for each phone user? You might be just looking for a good form factor of a phone, where the Ultra might still be too large for you at its 6.8 inch size, as opposed to a 6.3 inch screen size of the S21. Or you can go in between with S21 Plus. These things are large portions of the design of the phone that have to be taken into consideration when you pick which one you want to go with. But the plus here is that the main component of all the Samsung line this year is still the same as well. So that is the processor. You're still getting a Snapdragon 888 processor that is the bleeding top edge of performance in smartphones this year. It's got the dedicated onboard 5G radios as well on the processor this year, as opposed to last gen. So you're still getting superior phone and bragging rights for the newest processor. It just really depends on what you're looking for in a phone. Do you want everything thrown at the kitchen sink? Do you want this crazy space zoom? Do you want these bragging rights? Then maybe the Ultra is for you. Or maybe you're a tech nerd like I am and just want the top of the line. But the 21 and 21 Plus still offer great devices. The other differences in the 21 is it has a plastic back and it has a 1080p screen. The S21 Plus does have a glass back and a bigger battery, but it is still stuck at 1080p resolution. So if resolution, or you're a pixel peeper and really like that high def res, or you watch a lot of YouTube and can tell the difference, I'm actually one that can see the difference if I'm running a 1080p versus 1440p. video, where I would really prefer to be watching 1440p video. So that's why I wanted the S21 Ultra, because it still has the high refresh rate and does 1440p. People tend to call the S21 and even the S21 Plus the compromise phones. Myself though, I don't care that it has a plastic back. I think honestly with the plastic back, it's going to be a little bit more durable than these glass backs that are on phones now. There's a lot of reviews out of drop tests already between the Ultra and the 21, and with the plastic back on the 21, it's surviving drops better than the Ultra is. So don't be discouraged by a plastic back. The quality is still really good in the phone. So Samsung really honed in their product line this year. And I think this year you have to make a decision. Do you want a great all-around phone, or do you want a phone that absolutely has everything in it, comparable to a Note phone? There's several determining factors that you may have to choose for a different one. For me, the S21 is my pick. I think it's the most overall top of the line jump in the Samsung line of phones this year. I think you just get a lot of extra features with it between the bigger cameras. There's even a macro lens packed into the ultra wide lens. I think there's just a lot of extra features that you get this year with the Ultra line. So Samsung has really created the Ultra line into its own infancy now, to where it can really stand on its own. And I think even including the S Pen now is a great feature. I do wish that the S Pen had a place to fit it in the body of the phone, but what I also do like about this year's S Pen is it's a bigger pen. So actually the writing experience is even better on the S Pen. But remember, the S Pen is only available on the Ultra. So if you really like the pen, or you've had notes in the past, go with the Ultra as well. This is why, this was one of the big reasons I went with the Ultra, was because the pen, the cameras, and the resolution. Really like the S21 Ultra. So stick around. I'm going to have a lot more videos on stuff regarding the S21 lineup. I'm going to go through some stuff on how to configure your phone. I'm going to be going over the S Pen, some of its features as well, and some of the Samsung accessories that came out this year as well. Till the next one.